What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Crypto Junkie channel. What's up, crypto bros? Welcome back to your safe haven for all the advice you need to not get wrecked in this market. It would appear as though the sky is falling in, and President Biden has got this executive order coming up, right? And this is got a lot of people nervous and concerned, right? Because we got all this talk now about stable coins and DeFi and regulation, and oh man, they're doing a good job. They're doing a good job. So here's the end goal. Let's just lay this out right now. Here's what I think they're doing. And this comes from like watching them do this in other areas. Them meaning like government, whatever you want to consider the authoritative body that is trying to push this, right? The banks are scared. 40% of the US dollar has been printed in the last 2 years. And it looks like this fiat currency is quickly coming up on expiration. And I don't really know what the play is. It would appear as though they've got a CBDC, central bank digital currency, but here's the play. Let me explain this. Here's what I think they're doing. They're going to light off all these fireworks. It's the same thing that a cattle herder will do, and it's kind of like, I feel bad about comparing this to like cattle, because then everyone's like thinking that it's a sheep reference when it's not, or like a cattle reference, like, oh, follow the herd kind of reference. But essentially that's what they're trying to do. So they're lighting off fireworks, and they're opening up specific gates in the corral to get you to run towards what you think is open land, what you think is the solution, what you think is freedom, when in fact it's just a bigger holding chamber. It's just a bigger holding area, right? So let me explain this and dissect it. So the fireworks that they're lighting off all over the place to get you scared is regulation. Biden's gonna do an executive order. Bitcoin's going away. They're gonna get rid of it. They're gonna shut the whole thing down. And what we just saw in Canada with them trying to seize records essentially from exchanges, from centralized exchanges, and force them to hand over data that many of them don't even have. We saw bank accounts get shut down for the direct people that donated, for the family members. This is personal bank accounts, business bank accounts, absolute insanity, right? Those are the fireworks. Those are the holy shit, look at what's going on over here, and ignore the fact that they're corralling you into this new holding area. And the corral and the, come on guys, come on over here, right? Here's the, here's the light at the end of the tunnel. The light will be turned on all the way down at the end of the alley at the CBDCs. But in the meantime, they're gonna light so many fires. They're gonna make crypto seem so bad. It's coincidental that now, Bitcoin's down again, and the whole market's looking like ass. I'm sure that's just a big coincidence, right? That it's playing perfectly into the hand of what appears to be some sort of big CBDC launch, which if you remember back to, I think it was 2019, they said they were 3-4 years away. So clearly they were lying for the FedNow coin or whatever it's gonna be, the digital SDR through the IMF, whatever. There's something brewing, right? And I think that's like the light. We're trying to get pushed towards this, and we're getting distracted. We're getting distracted with the Russia-Ukraine thing. Oh my God, World War III, nuke all markets. So that's them extracting value again. Recently, I did a video on this where I talked about the fact that this is the game they play with fiats. Average fiat currency lasts 27 years. That's it. Okay? And within that, they are constantly taking that dollar that means nothing. It's backed by debt now in the United States. And they're using that to trade up to get real assets. We talked about before that we're at a record low amount of real asset holding in the United States, and more people now than ever are holding speculation. They're holding equities, they're holding junk, crap. They're not holding commodities, land, houses, boats, property of those sorts, right? Real hard assets. But you know who does? BlackRock, Vanguard. They've been buying up, suburban America now for the last, I don't even know, 3-4 years? Probably even earlier than that, but that's just like the pieces the news that we've got on it. And so they're trying to corral and push you to this fake answer, this fake solution, and that is going to be a CBDC. Stop messing with all this crypto shit. See, you lost all your money. The value goes up and down. It's too volatile. Come on over here. It's safe. Like equities were actually sold that way to be safe. Bonds and yields were sold that way to be safe, or treasuries and bonds rather, were sold that way to be like safe, low volatile, safe, sleepy assets. But they're not, because they're all based on this entirely bigger system that you could never keep track of. The US government and its spending and its ambitions to go to war and this and that, right? And pandemics and all this shit. All of that is completely impossible to track. So how is that ever actually accepted as a sleepy means, a sleepy asset and a sleepy means to essentially preserve wealth or gain wealth? It's completely illogical, right? And it's only funny now because there's been so many people with their eyes opened up over the last 2 years with what's occurred. Okay, so anyways, let's talk about the latest bombshell. The latest bombshell is, okay, to fill you up, to fill you in on what's happened. We had the Panama Papers, remember? Then we had the Pandora Papers that released, what was it, last year? I'll correct myself on the screen. No, it was not 2021, but maybe 2020 was the Pandora Papers, which was even larger drop of just basically shell companies, LLCs, interesting entity structuring to avoid taxation completely and get around legal loopholes to hide money. Okay, and so that happened, and now we've got the next big one to drop, which was the Credit Suisse. Oh shit, we gotta clip that. Somebody clip that. The Credit Suisse leak. And boy, this is another bombshell, man. The Credit Suisse Bank is apparently one of the oldest banks. I didn't even know this was an actual bank. I actually thought this was just like a grading system within the financial markets, but it's not. It's actually a bank. And so here is a highlight, courtesy of Zero Hedge, of who was on that list. We've got all kinds of people here. We've got, this is one of the few people here, the King of Jordan. He's one of the few officials that still remains in power, had 6 accounts, including one whose excess balance was 224 million. We had a Pakistani intelligence officer from the 80s, the sons of former Egyptian strongman. There's a lot of strongman people in here. I have no clue what the fuck relevance that is, but Venezuelan Vice Minister of Energy, former head of Jordan's intelligence agency. So multiple people from Jordan, they all, I guess, colluded together and said, hey, I got this bank over here that'll do it. But there's more than this, right? There's people that were involved in investigations and being investigated in Ukraine while simultaneously pushing millions of dollars to this bank, never asked questions, never were stopped, no paperwork or like all the loops we got to go through for anti-terrorism measures on fucking sending over $10,000 or more. None of that shit actually mattered. So this is yet another example of rules for you, but not for them. Because if you have enough money, it clearly demonstrates that across the entire planet, you can essentially get away with whatever the fuck you want, right? So, tragedy, really, for morals and values. Took a big L today. Okay, Balkan Gangster. What else we got? Al Jazeera, Strongman, Notorious Mining Magnate. Okay, that's it. But there's like way more than that. Those are like the highlights. That's the sizzle reel, right? The full story is here. I'll give the link. It's occrp.org. I love the fact that there's huge groups of people that are now like going through this data and attempting to make sense of it. Okay, so there's all kinds of stuff. We got a pump and dump. We got a oil pipeline. We got a lot. Okay, so you can read through this. I'm not going to completely cover it, but the point is that like when you start to realize that there's a bigger game being played and that there's all these things firing off at all times for distracting you so that you're not reading the real stories that matter, like Maxwell and that trial that just got brushed under the rug. Nothing got released, nothing got doxed, but yet we got truck drivers who are just trying to say, hey, we're sick of these mandates and we want our freedoms back, and they're getting full doxed, right? Do you see the yes is yes and no is no is not being really followed here. It's definitely a huge case of rules for you, but not for other people. And so anyways, that's what I think the goal is. So if that is the case, then what you can expect is the noise around Bitcoin to get louder and louder. They're already tackling all these angles of like right wing and political affiliation and trying to pin you there. They've got the environmental angle that they're trying to hit. So expect more squeeze there. While simultaneously, it'd be nice if the price kept dumping, wouldn't it, for their story and their narrative, okay? So that they could once again get you to believe that, capitulate essentially, and believe that this thing is not where the value is. Because at the end of the day, what is a currency? And the number one goal of a currency, especially a fiat that has nothing behind it, is to sell you on consensus, on the value. We mutually agree that there's value there, right? But if there's no real value and I know it, but you don't, then I win because I'm trading up to get real assets and you're not, because you're the sucker in this equation. So it's not a win-win at all, in the slightest. So I don't know if this will actually stick. I think it would be like absolutely insane if there was an actual executive order pushed out by a president about cryptocurrency. Like they went from not really caring to like, you know, dragging their feet to now we've got FBI task force created in like the last week. We got, you know, them teasing this again. So I don't know if this is just a nothing burger and they're just teasing it to create the fear and to create the panic and the sell-off, or if it's actually coming. But again, look at the bigger picture here. Take a step back, look at the macro. I think the macro here is that they're trying to essentially scare the shit out of you, get you to capitulate and come run to this safe haven called the US dollar again, but in digital version. So I'd love to hear your thoughts though. Comment below. If you like this sort of thing, then stick around, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and hit the like button so that we can get this in front of more people. All right, thanks for tuning in. See ya.